Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this new format of Equity a Chat. And this is one of your Equity Avengers, Dr. Pam Luster, President Emerita of San Diego Mesa College. And I am so excited to be here today with Chaz Robinson. Chaz has been a guest on Equity Chat, and we are really excited to check in with him again. Hello, Chaz, and welcome.
Hello, Dr. Lester. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be back on in a new platform and to talk equity with you.
Very cool. Well, I'm going to give people a brief bio on you. So, you are the policy advisor at Third Way Education. And before you were at Third Way, you've had a number of leadership roles in higher ed and have been national orientation director for associations like New York Gear Up, ACPA and NASPA. Also, Arthur Schomburg Fellow, Julian Park Fellow, Presidential Fellow at the University of Buffalo, where you're currently completing your doctoral degree in educational leadership and policy. Congratulations on that. I love doc programs. You graduated with a BA in psychology from St. Mary's University in beautiful Minnesota and a master's in education and higher ed from in higher administration from University of Buffalo. So we are literally on opposite ends of the US Earth today. I'm
Yep.
in San Diego and you're out there. So very exciting.
I love it. I love it. I was just in San Diego a couple of weeks ago, so I'm a little jealous now. It was my first time there.
Oh, well, see, now you know people. You can come
Yep.
back anytime. You can come back anytime. It's a great place. So I am going to jump in, and in this format of Equity Avengers, we're going to try to get to 5 questions. And the first one is always, I think, the most fun question that we ask our guests. When you think about engaging in equity work, what's your walk-up song or anthem?
Yeah, I'll give you two really quick ones. I shared this in the equity chat, but I always tell people when I can, you should go on YouTube, type in Be Free by J. Cole on
Hmm.
YouTube and the David Letterman. I just feel like it's so relevant. And I love hip hop. And right now, Kendrick Lamar, Man of the Garden has grown on
Ah.
me a lot. So I've been listening to that every day. I love the manifestations in it that he's talking about there. So I love both of those artists, and that's what I listen. I would use those to get me going in the morning, or a walk up song, or just
Yeah.
freely just to be listening to.
Yeah, it's just personal point of privilege. My daughter and some of her friends are headed to Vegas to see Kendrick in May. So
Ooh, I'm
they're
going too, and I don't go to concerts. I'm
I
going in as a
know
DD.
they're grown adults, but they're really cool. So they've been before, but there's just something very special about um the way that he does what he does. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I would launch into lyrics on both of those, but no one would appreciate it. So So when you think about, the experiences you've had, a number of experiences, your own personal experience coming through, education yourself, can you think of a defining moment or an experience that really catalyzed your journey and just knowing that you wanted to engage in this work and serve as a champion for community college students?
Yeah, it's been, I think, a series of moments for me, but we don't have the time to listen to my entire life journey. But coming up, with a single mom who was working class in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which a lot of people are unfamiliar with, but it's one of the poorest cities in the United States of America. It has one of the highest incarceration rates of Black men in America. And at the same time, it has some of the poorest educational stats and outcomes for people in America. So I think growing up in that environment, I've learned this love for my community. It wasn't a detriment. I found this love and passion for it, to see my mom working to try to make, situations better for me. To see friends that some have made it, some have took other routes, some didn't make it here today. So I think just those pivotal moments throughout my life really made me say, oh, I need to be a champion of college, and really understanding that college could take me to a different place. And for us, that was the technical college. Milwaukee Area Technical College was smack dead in the middle of downtown Milwaukee. And that's where a lot of my friends who did go to schools get certificates, get education, and transfer into 4 years or whatever they wanted to do. That was a place for it. And so that's really for me why it's super important to champion community colleges for sure.
Very cool. And I think about those formative experiences we have where all at the same time someone's helping us, and then we're turning around and saying, wait a minute, I could do this. I'm empowered. I'm
Absolutely.
engaged. I got agency in this.
Absolutely.
I could
Yeah.
be what that person was for me, right? Those moments are so awesome when someone imbues your own power into you and you're like, rocket ship, like, okay, let's do this. Yeah.
Yep, yep, absolutely. And you bring up a great point of just having mentorship too,
Yeah.
like and seeing someone doing it. I think it's one thing to see, but for somebody to still be in tune with the community, I'm on a couple boards at home, so I think it is. I learned quickly, like seeing is believing too for a lot of people in my community. So people want to be around you; they don't want you to just show them. So I think that's important as well.
That's awesome. So when you think about doing this work, and of course you're in a doctoral program right now, so you got all sorts of continuous learning going on. But a
Yeah.
lot of us get into these roles, and it's on the job training, right? Like we just go in and we do what we do innately. But when you think about your own practice and how you're learning every day, how do you stay in that frame of I don't know everything, I need to know more?
Yeah, I think I'm in that frame daily as in being in the doc program. It gives you that humbleness you need to realize, oh man, there's more to dig into and more to know. But I also think for me, respecting the leaders that have come before me is
Mm.
super, super important in any field that I go in. If I'm in academia and I'm writing and I'm researching, I want to go talk to my advisor. I want to talk to a Dr. Lester on campus and respect what they've contributed to the field as a practitioner and also the body of work that they have is super important to me. And then you got your classics. I'm reading Du Bois. I love Franklin Frazier's. That's one of my favorite books. Cedric Robinson's book. So I'm reading the classics as well to stay grounded. But I think most importantly for me in the moment that I am right now is when I'm writing something or when I'm talking about something. I want to know that my those that have come before me doing equity work respect it, and if they don't respect it, I don't take it to heart. I mean, that means I've done something wrong and I need to revisit it. And before I put things out in writing and say things, I'm talking to them to get their viewpoint on it. And I think that's how I'll continue doing the work. I think we got to respect it, and that's how we grow. That's how we come, that's how we develop in this space, and to make sure that we are holding each other accountable in community and still at the same time doing good work.
Yeah, and I think, I was thinking about this, the impact that students have had on my learning
Yeah.
along the way. I think I'm about to teach my 13th cohort in the San Diego State.
Wow.
Shout out to SDSU's doc program. And I
Yes.
feel like
Yes.
every time the cohort comes through, I have a new group of colleagues and people that I can then rely on. And so, I am in a different stage of my career than most of those that are coming through. And I have to continuously open my heart and my mind to thinking differently because you can settle in and be like, yeah, I got this, like I've been
Yep.
doing it forever, right? That is the terrible place to reach. You got to keep opening up the heart, the mind, be open to things that you don't agree with, right?
Yes.
But that's how
Yes.
things change, and that's how our work iterates over time, and we get away from the colonizing that's come before us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yep.
we gotta break up that tool shed. So just we
Absolutely.
got things
Yep.
to do.
Absolutely.
So let's think about, it's an interesting time right now, interesting doing a lot of heavy lifting there. And when you think about your vision for the future, and what you want to live, the world that you want to live in, and you want for the folks in your life, what do you think about in terms of freedom dreaming for higher ed, and what gives you hope for the future?
Yeah. My freedom dream. I've always been a proponent of economic mobility. I think is really important. And I find middle ground with a lot of people. Our paths, how we want to get there, are drastically different sometimes. But I think people having access to a career is so important. And it's bigger. I tell people when you come from a community like mine, it's not just individual dollars for that person. These are people that are taking care of families. These are people that are, building programs in their local communities because they have the capital to do so. And my freedom dream, and I do think education is a pathway to get there, whether it's to get that first job. But it also what's so important is that social mobility. The people you meet along the way, you never know how that works out. And I think there's power in that in building community through education and people getting jobs. Um, and then what's the second part of the question? I missed that second part.
That's okay. Just what gives you hope?
Oh, that's why I missed it. It's a
I know.
it's
It's
a really
okay.
it's a scary time right now.
That hopey changey stuff.
Yeah, but what gives me hope is the fight that I see from
Yeah,
people that are leaning in right now from what's going on in this world instead of pulling back. And these are, to me, in these moments, I always see the local communities doing a lot of the resistance, and so that gives me hope. If I see them doing it, and I'm sitting here and I'm going, wait. You should be doing the same thing. If
yeah,
people can wake up with so many things that they have going on. In my community, I know so many people that don't even have some of the resources that they need, but they wake up every day saying, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, I have no reason to be complaining or talking about what I can't do if they're doing that.
yeah. That gratitude piece and that acknowledging of the privilege that we hold wherever we are.
Absolutely.
In Bettina Love's work, she talks about the
Oh, yeah, I
ATM
love
of
her.
privilege, right? Well, she talks about the ATM of white privilege, just saying. And I think a few of us need to visit it a whole lot more,
Oh, yeah.
and be using what's out there. So,
And we need
um,
our co-conspirators.
oh, we do to get in some good trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about this work, you've got your whole career ahead of you, and the road to racial equity is long. We know that. And
Mm.
we especially know it right now, where things are just being thrown in our face with pejorative terms. How are you sustaining yourself? And what practice do you recommend to other equity vendors?
Yeah. I believe stuff like this to me feels like community. Like to the outside viewer it might be like you're podcasting, but I'm like, this is community. This is what I enjoy because it's a chance to tap into others that are doing this work, and really getting insights and exchange of information. So I think community is really important for me. For me it's going to be my faith. Growing up, my mom was, as we would say, a Bible thumper. um, and she would always bring up the Bible. But it's funny. You get older, and you like, sometimes I might have needed those, and I need it now more than ever. So I keep my faith strong, and I think as much as we can, trying to be active, like with your physical, and that is something that I aspire to be better at, but also something that I try to do in my day to day, whether it's taking that walk, getting some
Yeah.
sun, trying to get a smoothie, or those little things that we can do. Because I also think if our tempo is getting weaker, then it's hard to even fight back and resist. As we
Yeah.
know, bell hooks.
Oh,
Radical
yeah.
rest
You
is
bet.
is super important. So getting that rest as well.
For sure. I was at a conference. I do some work in philanthropy, and I was at a conference, and someone was talking about the fact that we have to sustain ourselves over time. And I thought about, I mean, San Diego lived on the West Coast my whole time, and I thought about that idea of being like caught in a rip current.
Mm,
And if you start flailing around and try to get out of the current, you drown, right?
yeah,
But if you flip on your back and you float a little while and you look at the shore and you swim parallel to shore for a while and then you feel that release, you can swim back into shore at the place that's safe for you to do so. And I am holding on to that metaphor right now because I think we've been floating on our back. I think we've had some recent things on the national scene that are going to
hmm
get people paddling right back to shore,
yeah,
because we're going to find some ways to be in this community together. So, um, well, I want to thank you for your time. That went really quickly this morning. But that's the
absolutely.
idea. We're trying to do busy things for busy people, right? So they can just listen in and talk to us a little bit. But Chaz, I wish you just the best in your doc program. Excited to see what you're doing with Third Way. And I know our paths will cross again so that we can continue to get this in this good trouble together.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to connect with you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Thank you.